on, guys? It's time for my first roster review of NHL 22. This is the November roster update, which just released a few hours ago. If you guys don't know how to download this, simply go over to the More tab, click on Rosters, Active Rosters. You want to download the most recent one. That is November 23rd. Now, if you have creative players like me, your Owen Powers, Matthew Beniers, etc., all you got to do is click on your custom roster, click Y or triangle on PlayStation to merge roster. Click the most recent roster update. You'll still have all your created players with the updated rosters. Now, you'll have to go reassign them to their respective teams so they get unassigned for some reason. It's really annoying, but it's better than losing them every single time. So, just going to go through here, guys, show you all the changes. I will say, as far as I know, it's basically just NHL rating changes. So, this is like one of their big, every couple months they do this rating changes for the NHL. I'm going to start with the Anaheim Ducks and show you guys all the differences. So Troy Terry here's the first one, the Ducks, 84 overall. He actually got a +3 from 81. I'll show you guys his stats there quickly. I will say I'm going to be looking over to the left a lot to my spreadsheet with all the different rating changes. I've gone through and actually organized it team by team. I'll probably share that with you guys in the comments section or on Twitter, something like that. Afterwards, you have Ryan Getzlaf, 83. So he only got a +1. As I mentioned in my video, I think Terry is really benefiting from playing with Getzlaf. So having Terry be higher than Getzlaf makes no sense to me. They should be the same, if not Getzlaf, one higher. Trevor Zegras there also got a +1, now an 83. I feel like Zegras has been playing pretty well. I'm not sure if I would have bumped him though, if I'm being honest. Maxime Comtois here got a pretty big downgrade, -2 to 82. He's only got 1 point on the season, so honestly that made a lot of sense to me. After him, you have Drysdale getting a +1. He looked pretty decent out there, so I think that makes a lot of sense. Also, I almost missed him, but Henrique here also got a +1, now 83. Again, I think Getzlaf's a better player than Henrique, so Getzlaf should probably be at least an 84. After that, I think that might be it. Or actually, sorry, Isaac Lundstrom was just on him, now 79. He got a +2. Again, I think that's well-deserved. Not going to have any complaints from me. But on the Ducks, in goal, John Gibson, now a 90. So this one, although Gibson is playing well, I probably wouldn't have bumped him to 90, as I feel like before he was an 89, which was already good enough. Just because he's playing well, I think that kind of more proves the point he deserves the 89, opposed to making him even higher rated, if that makes sense. So I feel like a lot of people thought Gibson was too high rated at 89. His play this year showed he wasn't, but making him now a 90, that might have been a bit too high for me. Moving on now to the Arizona Coyotes. Jacob Chikrin here surprisingly did not change rating. I thought he might have because, he's like -20 something on the year. Clayton Keller here got a -1, now an 83. I think that's fair. Shane Gostisbehere, though, got a +1 to 82. I recommend doing the same thing, so that makes a lot of sense. After that, you have Lawson Crouse, who got a +2, now an 80. I feel like 70s was definitely too low for him. After that, you just have 1- here to Dmitry Yaskin, now a 78, got a -1. Also, guys, look at the Coyotes' goaltending this year. I saw they didn't have Scott Wedgwood, but he's actually on the AHL team. He's 80 overall, same as Carter Hutton. Also, Vejmelka here is only a 76. I thought maybe he would get a boost because he's in the NHL, but honestly, his stats are pretty bad, so 76 is probably fine for him. So moving on here, guys, the Boston Bruins. Brad Marchand got a +1, now a 92. Makes him higher rated than both Pastrnak and Bergeron. I mean, it's so tight there. I think all three are such good players, but Marchand's very, very good. I'm honestly not too upset with it. Boston Bruins fans, let me know. Charlie McAvoy got a well-deserved upgrade as well, +1 to 88. Hall, though, got a downgrade, -1 there to 86. I feel like there's one more person I'm missing. Jake DeBrusk here actually got a -2, now an 80. Honestly, that's probably fine. I think I would have made him an 81, though. And then Jeremy Swayman here got a +1, now an 82. I think that's very fair. Allmark's been kind of shaky there. Swayman looks pretty solid. Buffalo Sabres here actually got a good amount of upgrades because they've had a lot of guys kind of step up and fill different voids on their team. So Colin Miller here got a +1, now an 82. Butcher actually got a -1, now an 81. Skinner got a +1, now an 80. I always said 79 was way too low for him. Asplund got a +1, now 79. He's actually been playing pretty decent on their first line. Kyle Posto as well here got a +2, now a 79. He's playing pretty decent. Same with Tage Thompson, got a +2 to a 78. The fact that they had him 76 before was definitely way too low. Now the Calgary Flames here, Elias Lindholm got a +2, now an 88. Tied with Matthew Tkachuk. I don't know about that one. I think Lindholm I would have given a +1 to, made him an 87. I feel like Tkachuk's the better all-around player, but honestly, I'm not too upset with it. Mangiapane, of course, got a +1, now an 84. I would have given a +2, but +1's fine. Monahan there dropped by 1 to 84. He was definitely one of the guys I was going to recommend giving downgrades to. Mikael Backlund here actually got a -1, now an 82. As well here, Shillington got a pretty big upgrade, +381. I think I gave a +4 to 82, but still good to see EA giving him some respect. And then finally here, Tyler Pitlick, I believe they dropped in rating by 1 there to 78. Overall, pretty solid. I almost forgot the goaltending. Jacob Markstrom's now an 89. So I think Markstrom's really good, but again, this is one where is he an 89? Like, it's tough to say because He's a guy who I think they dropped in rating from last year, like not having the best year, first year in Calgary, but now he's already up to an 89 based on a quarter of the season. It's weird to me how sometimes like a quarter of the season matters more for the rating than the entire season, but it's whatever. Carolina Hurricanes up next here. Svechnikov got a +1 down to 88. I think that's well deserved. Slavin maybe honestly should be higher rated. I think 87, 88, just such a polished defenseman. And also in Carolina here, Jordan Staal dropped 1 to 83. I think 83 honestly makes a bit more sense for him. Troy D'Angelo here +2 at 82. He's got a ton of points this year. I think I mentioned him as well with the exact same rating. So good to see EA get that right. Kotkaniemi here actually dropped by 2, now an 80. Now this is one I think I have to agree with, as he really hasn't done much this season. Now in regards to the trade though, Dvorak hasn't done much for Montreal either. I feel like that's one we'll have to look at in a few years to know really who won the trade. And I think that's it for the Carolina Skaters, but Freddie Anderson here also got a +1, now an 88. So like I was saying with Jacob Markstrom, I think even more so here with Freddie Anderson, he's played and looked really good for the start of the season, but Anderson should not have been 87 to start this game. If he was an 87, Jack Campbell would not have been starting over him in Toronto. Also, his Toronto numbers, I don't know if they're really worthy of 87. I think he was more 85, 86 deserving start of the year, and maybe now he's an 87. So I think it's a spot where they're giving a guy an upgrade because he's playing well, but they overrated him to start, so he didn't really deserve that upgrade. And rather than kind of fixing that by just leaving him the same, they're making it worse almost, or keeping it still bad by giving him that upgrade, in my opinion at least. So Chicago Blackhawks here. I think the first one, Dominic Kubalik, down 1 from 84. Jonathan Toews as well is down 1 to 85. Kirby Dach also down 1 from 83 to 82. I think that's fine for Dach, but he should definitely have medium league potential. Gustafsson as well is not an 82 overall defenseman. He should be like an 80. They still haven't fixed that. Dylan Strome actually dropped by 2 as well to an 81. I think medium top 6 is fine. Could also give him low elite. And I'm wondering too, actually there's a lot of guys here on Chicago downgraded. Gaudette there, down from 80 to a 79. But then Brandon Hagel here is actually up 2 from a 76 to a 78. He's got low bottom 6 potential. I feel like they should give him a little bit of love, at least give him like a medium top 9. Also too, both their goalies downgraded by 1. Fleury to 89 and Lankin to 82. I think that's deserved. Obviously, Chicago, it hasn't looked the best. I mean, Fleury's still being 89, considering his numbers this year. I think it's very, very fair. Now, the Colorado Avalanche are up next. Cale Makar finally got a nice upgrade, +1 to 89. Kadri as well, +1 to 86. He's got some like 13 points his last 6 games. It's ridiculous just how well he's playing. Looking at the rest of the team here, I believe Kumper's up 1 to 82, Byram's up 2 to 81, and finally Logan O'Connor here got a +3, now a 78. Again, guys, if I look over to the side ever, it's because I've got like my list. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. So Borkstrand here got a +1, now an 86. Borkstrand, I think, is one of the most underrated players in the game. It used to be, you know, Barkov, Huberdeau. I would make a case, honestly, it might be Borkstrand now. After that, you actually have a -1 downgrade to Roslovich, now an 82. That's probably fine. He might have gotten a bit too high of a bump just because of, like, you know, his really good play in a small stretch last season. Gavrikov, though, well-deserved +1 upgrade to an 81. I feel like, honestly, you can even make him an 82. He's a very solid defensive defenseman. Then you got Cole Sillinger, who's looked really good as a rookie, getting a +2 upgrade, now 79. I think they've also added an X factor to him. I don't believe he had that before. And then finally, Andrew Peeke here got a +2. Was a 76, now it's 78. That's also well-deserved. Could even be, like, a 79-80. Like, he's a pretty solid, you know, depth defenseman. Kind of similar, I think, to Dean Kukin. So, overall, I think they did Columbus well. Dallas Stars here. Tyler Seguin gets a -1, now an 86. I think, you know, hard to argue. Kind of funny, actually, him and Hall both going down to 86. After that, Radulov got a -2, now an 84. Radulov's just been okay. I might have left him 85. Danny Bender also got a -1, now 84. Again, hard to argue with those guys. After that, I think there's just one other player here, or sorry, 2 more. Gurianov there from 84 to 83, which he was definitely too high rated, 84, so they're kind of helping to fix that one. And then finally, Mason Marchment, not here, but you guys carries in the AHL, he got a +1, and now a 78. After that, my favorite team, the Red Wings. The first one, like, already, you know, something's up. Bertuzzi should not be the highest rated player on this team. It's Dylan Larkin. So Larkin's 87, which I think is pretty accurate. I think Bertuzzi should be 86. They give him a +2 from 85 to 87. Which I think is way too much based on 10 games or whatever. Hot start to the season, but I would leave Bertuzzi 86. Lucas Raymond now an 84. I mentioned in my video how he should get at least a +6 to 83, maybe 84. He did just that. So if you look at his stats there, really, really good. I think, too, they finally fixed his player type. Before he was a sniper, now they have him as a 2-way forward, so that's awesome to see. Mort side here as well. They did the exact same thing I did. Gave him a +4 and now an 84. I love seeing that. Just looking at all those stats there. Those two guys I think are going to grow so well in fantasy, which is awesome to see for Detroit. Hronek as well got some love. He's a +1, now an 83. Want to make sure I don't miss anyone else because Detroit actually got a ton of upgrades. Nemestikov here, +3, now an 82. I believe Sam Gagner got a +1, now an 80. Surprisingly, Troy Stecher got a -1 to an 80. I feel like Setcher was not doing terrible this year. I'd have left him at 81, but maybe that's just my Red Wings bias. And I think that's it for the team, but Detroit now definitely going to be much, much better. At the end of this video, I actually will be showing all the different teams' overalls with the changes, just to see if any team's gone way up or way down. And I feel like Detroit should no longer be, basement of the Atlantic. Edmonton here, you guys saw him in the thumbnail. Leon Draisaitl's now at 94. Hard to argue on the guys leading the league in points and goals. The only thing I will say is, if Draisaitl's at 94, I don't think McDavid's only one overall higher than Draisaitl. Like, I don't know what the reason is for not making McDavid higher. Like, what are they scared of? McDavid, if Draisaitl's a 94, he should be at least a 96, if not a 97. Look at the rest of the team here. Zach Hyman got a +1 to 85. He's looked really good on the Oilers. Hard to argue that. Keith, though, was dropped by 1 to 83. Everyone kind of said he was too high rated last year when the trade happened. I think I was one of the ones saying that, so that makes sense. Puljujarvi got a +1 to 83. This one's tough because he's playing well, but how much of that is based on McDavid? I think overall it's fine. After that, Bouchard got an upgrade, I believe a +2, now an 81. And I think the only other player that got changed was Kelly Model here, down 2, now an 80. I think that's a bit too much of a drop. I probably would have just did a -1. Again, it seems like sometimes they just change guys way too much, I think, on a small sample size compared to their rating changes between 2 different seasons after 82 games. And next year, guys, are the Florida Panthers. Going to apologize right now. And you're looking at the list a lot, as they have the most rating changes of any team, 11 in total, and they're all upgrades. So the Panthers should definitely seem a lot better now, kind of more similar to real life. Ekblad, I know, got +1. He's now an 88. Verhey got a +1, now an 84. Duclair also got +1, now an 84. Hard to argue with really any of these based on how well the Panthers are playing. Forson got a +1, now an 83. Lundell got a +3, now an 81. Bennett got a +1, now 81. I think I said, like, beginning of the year last year, 78 was way too low for him, especially how well he played in Florida. Thornton, though, actually, he made me a liar. He got a -1, now an 80, which is fine. He's 42. Of Toronto as well got a -1. He's an 80. So, sorry, mostly upgrades. Those are actually the only 2 downgrades. Owen Tippett here got a +3, now an 80. Again, like, so many guys on this team playing well. Lusterinen here got a +3 as well, now 78. Mason Marchment, he's on the Panthers. I think I was thinking of Adam Masherin on Dallas. Got their 2 names confused. He got a +1 there to the 78. After that, I think that's it for the Panthers for the skaters, but Sergei Bobrovsky here also got a +1, now an 86. In my video, I think I made him an 87, so kind of weird how sometimes they don't go all out when I think they should, but when they shouldn't go all out, they do. Again, it's probably just, different perspectives. LA here, so no changes to the superstars. Iafallo, though, got a +1, now an 83. We got to go way down here to some of the more depth players. Kelly had +1 to 78. Same goes for Kopari there, +1 to 77. And then Jonathan Quick actually got a +1 to 83, which I think makes a lot more sense. As Peterson and him have been more of a tandem this year than I expected, where I thought it was going to be kind of Peterson just having the starter role. And now next year, guys, are the Minnesota Wild. No changes in their star players. The first change is actually Jordan Greenway, down 1 to 82, which honestly is probably more fair for him. I think of him as like a third-line power forward. He had a pretty solid season last year, which is why he got to 83, but might have been a little bit too much. Now Ryan Hartman here got a +1. He's now an 81. After that, I think it's just more depth guys. Bukestad got a -1, now a 79, which is tough, but it kind of explains why the Penguins gave him away for free. Rem Pitlick here actually got a +2, now a 78. I didn't even realize dudes look pretty good in like a very small sample size so far for Minnesota. And then after him, Nico Sturm there, also pretty good depth forward, bottom 6 guy. He got a +3, now a 78. And then both Minnesota Wild goalies actually, like Chicago, down in rating. Kakin and Talbot were both 83s. They're now both 82s, which I looked at their stats. Not that great right now, so it actually makes a lot of sense. After that, we're going to the Montreal Canadiens here, guys. Jeff Petrie, pretty big downgrade from 87 to 85. Obviously not the best start to the season, but I don't know if I would go 85. I'd probably just put him back to an 86. After that, there's actually a couple more changes for Montreal Canadiens. The first you probably would have guessed, Cole Caulfield down by 2 to an 81. The dude got dropped to the AHL. Before that, wasn't looking amazing, so I think that's fair. And then goaltending-wise, Jake Allen actually dropped by 1 to 83. Again, he's played better in the past. So overall, I think the changes to Montreal are fair. Aside from Petrie, like I said, I'd probably make an 86. Now looking at the Nashville Predators, Graylan Duchesne are honorable mentions in my video. I decided to give them a +1 to 84. They each got +2 to 85. Again, they got dropped basically from like 84, 85 last year to 83 after a whole season of bad performance. This year on 20 games, they're already up to an 85. I don't know if I agree with it, but they both looked pretty good, so it's fine. Duchesne hopefully will have better value now based on that kind of albatross of a contract. Kind of surprisingly, Ekholm here dropped by 1 to 85. I don't really watch Nashville enough to comment on it, so let me know, guys, if you think that's actually warranted drop. I thought, Ekholm was a pretty solid defenseman. Tolvanen here dropped by 1 to 81. he's been pretty mess, so I think that one's fair. And the final skater change on Nashville, guys, Tanner Jeannot now at 78, which again I think is pretty fair as he's had a good start to his rookie season. Also Saros, they finally gave an upgrade to now an 86. The thing is, Saros I would say is a better goaltender than Freddie Anderson, and Anderson's an 88. I think honestly I take Saros over Markstrom even. At least it's very close. Markstrom's 89, so Saros is definitely underrated. Saros should be at least an 87, if not an 88, 89. So hopefully they'll fix that soon. Now in regards to the Devils next here, Tom Tatar's dropped by 1 to 83, which I think makes sense. Jesper Bratt's up by 1 to 82. I always thought 81 was a bit too low for him. Andreas Johnson as well up to an 82, which is a +2 for him. Kind of surprisingly, actually, in what, like 20 games played this year, he's already got 11 points. I think it's less than that. I think he's got like 16 games played, which is how many points he had last season. So that's pretty impressive for him. Dawson Mercer as well, one of the biggest upgrades. He got a +6 from a 76 to 82. Again, he's looking like one of the better rookies in the NHL, so good to see that. After that, Sharangovich actually dropped by 1 and now an 81, and I believe that is it for the Devils. New York Islanders here only have 3 changes, so they should be pretty easy to find. The first is Anders Lee, down from 85 to 84. Also to Zach Parise, who they signed for basically free. He dropped by 1 from 80 to 79. And then Ilya Sorokin finally got an upgrade from 83 to 84. Again, he's 26. I would just give him medium elite, help him grow a bit more in that final season. As well, too, I think Sorokin could honestly even be an 85. Like, the Islanders have a pretty good tandem there in net. Looking at the New York Rangers now, guys, not too many changes. The first, though, Chris Kreider up by 1 to an 85. He's got a lot of goals right now, definitely well-deserved. Also, 2 almost missed them. But Adam Fox here got a +1, now an 88. Makes a lot of sense. The dude did just win the Norris. And I think McCarr's an 89 on Colorado, so honestly, you could maybe even make Fox 89. I don't think that'd be, like, overrated or anything. Finally here on the Rangers, Philip Hiddle actually dropped by 2 to an 81, which I think is fair. Lafreniere, I'm kind of surprised they haven't touched yet. Still an 82. Last year he had 20 points, 56 games. This year hasn't really done much. I think I'd probably have Lafreniere like an 81. And finally, 2 on the Rangers, though. Shesterkin's down 88. So again, is he well-deserved the upgrade? I think so. But is he that much better than Saros? I don't think so. I think definitely looking at some of the higher-rated goalies, Saros deserves an upgrade. I think, too, with some of these goalies getting higher upgrades, hopefully we see better goalie stats in franchise, something we've kind of been missing. And moving on to the Ottawa Senators here, Thomas Chabot actually got downgraded to 87, but honestly, I think that's a fair rating for him. Drake Batherson got a +2, now an 85. Batterson's looked very good this year and looked solid last year, so he deserved that one for sure. Josh Norris here, I think, was already 84. He was. Tim Stützle here was also an 84. He's gone down to 83. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, honestly, I think Stützle should probably be like an 82. Some of the rookies were a bit too high rated. Nikita Zaitsev here got a -1 to an 80, and it's got a +1 to an 80, and then Mete here got a +1 to a 79. So overall, I think they did Ottawa pretty well. Looking at the Philadelphia Flyers here, JVR dropped by 1 from 86 to 85. Last year, he was scoring a lot more than so far this year, so I think that one makes a lot of sense. And actually, only 2 more changes for them, so not too much. Braun there got a +1, now an 81. Carter Hart also got a +1, now an 84. Hart deserves at least an 84, if not an 85. Last year was looking mostly like a fluke for him. He's kind of bounced back. Played pretty well. He's actually got some of the better goalie stats in the entire NHL. Pittsburgh Penguins here. Basically, all the guys that kind of stepped up in Crosby Malkin's absence are the guys that are going to be getting upgrades here. First one here, Dan Heinen, +1 from 79 to 80. Evan Rodriguez here got a +2 from 78 to 80. Also, Drew O'Connor here, who I don't think is related to Logan O'Connor. He got a +2 to 78. As well as Dominic Simon here, +1 to 78. But then in goal, Casey DeSmith actually dropped by 1 to 82, which makes sense. Jerry's kind of proven himself to be more of the starter, so I'm fine with that. Afterwards, we have the San Jose Sharks here. Brent Burns actually got a +1, now an 86. Had a pretty good offensive year, so not really going to complain about that one, although Carlson's 85. Is Burns better than Carlson? I don't think so when Carlson's healthy, but I'm sure someone might argue that. Afterwards, you also have Timo Meier here with a +1, now an 86. Mario Ferraro here got a very well-deserved upgrade, +1 to 83. I still think Edward Vlasic 81 is a little low. Should be like at least an 82. Balcer here got a +1, now an 80. Benino dropped by 1, now an 80. A couple of younger guys got big upgrades. Jonathan Dowling here got a +3, now a 78. Same with Barbanov, +3 to 78. I think both those guys kind of stepped up, filled roles in the top 6 when they're also playing the NHL. That makes a lot of sense. And finally here, James Reimer as well got a +1, now an 84. Kind of stolen that starter job. I think it was supposed to be Aiden Hill. Otherwise, why would they give up a second-round pick for him? And Reimer's kind of, shown that he's the better goalie. Seattle Kraken here have actually had some downgrades. So the first one is an upgrade, as I say that. Alex Wenberg got a +1, now an 83. But after him, Mason Appleton, where is he? Down by 1 to an 80. Also, Cal Yarncroc there, down by 2 to an 81. I think he's only got 2 points on the year, so that one makes a lot of sense. Grubauer here also down by 2 to an 85. looking like he definitely benefited from playing behind the Avalanche defense. Drieger there's still an 84. I feel like Drieger should probably be an 83, but that's just my opinion. St. Louis Blues are up next here. Looking through that team, they only have a few changes. Two of the guys I mentioned in my video, Jordan Kyrou got a +2 to 85. Thomas got a +2 to 84. So just like Nashville, I said I would have given both these guys +1 because it's a big upgrade of +2 based on 17 to 20 games, based on how many games the team's played this season. And I think it might be a little bit too early to make that jump. Also, too, Barbashev on this team got a +1, now an 81. After that, guys, the Tampa Bay Lightning here. Alex Killorn, definitely a well-deserved upgrade, now an 84. I feel like he's kind of a forgotten guy in that mix with Palat, Cirelli, Yanni Gourde. Killorn's, very good player, so deserve that upgrade. Matthew Joseph as well, kind of a guy who stepped up, one of the younger guys on the team. Got a +1, now an 80. Then you have a couple veterans here. Maroon and Perry, both down by 1. No longer 80s, they're now 79s, but honestly, I think that's fine. And then in net, Andrei Vasilevskiy is even more so the best goalie in the league now. Got a +1 to be at 93. So tough to argue honestly with any of those. Already on goalies for Toronto, I'll show you guys right now. Jack Campbell did get an upgrade as I said he should. He's up to an 84. I personally made him an 85 because his stats have been so good this season. Plus, Mrazek 84. Campbell's the clear-cut starter. That just makes more sense to me. After that, Nylander actually got a +187. He's played really well this year, so that's deserved. Alex Kerfoot also got a +1, now an 82. You then have both Justin Holl and Travis Dermott dropping by 1 to 81s, which again I think is fine. Nick Ritchie dropped by 2 to an 80, and I mean they got him for free. I feel like if he was an 82, Boston probably keeps him. After that, Wayne Simmons dropped by 1 to an 80. Michael Bunting's up by 1 to a 79. Honestly, could maybe even make Bunting an 80. Like I think he's looked pretty good, and I believe that's all the changes. Lidgergan, of course, no longer medium elite, so that's nice to see. Vancouver Canucks here. So Vancouver's a weird team. A lot of guys going up, a lot of guys going down. So the first one, JT Miller's up by 1 to 87. He's having another very solid season. I think that's well deserved. Brock Besser here is down by 1 to an 86. Peterson's down by 2 to an 86, which I don't really agree with. When I look at the Canucks, I think the best forward on that team by far is Peterson. And right now they have both Horvat and Besser tied with him. Miller's one higher. Peterson -2 I think is too much. They should have just did a -1, made him an 87. Really surprised Ekman Larsson didn't go down at all. He's still an 86. I think more fair for Ekman Larsson's probably 84, so I feel like they missed that one. Hollinger here, though, got a well-deserved +1 and now an 82. And after that, I think it's just Justin Bailey, up 1 to a 78. Kind of weird, he has like 0 points in 10 NHL games this year, but he's averaging over a point per game in the AHL, so I think the upgrade's fine. Look at the Vegas Golden Knights here. I like that. Eichel's no longer low elite, now medium elite. Shea Theodore got a well-deserved +1, now 87. I think Theodore should have gotten a +2, honestly, in my mind. He deserves an 88. After that, this is a bit controversial, I think. Chandler Stevenson, +2 to an 84. So I think Stevenson has had a decent start to this year, has played pretty good on Vegas, but I think he really benefits from the fact he's playing first-line center for Vegas with Mark Stone on one wing, Pat Shreddy on the other, which really boosts his numbers. So like just looking at the numbers, 84 probably makes sense for him, but I think when you actually look at the context of the situation, that's probably too high. He was an 82 before. I think 83 is the max would have made him. If not, kept him at 82. Again, I feel like you have to look at the context of the situation a lot of times. After that, we actually have a downgrade for Tinas Janmark, down from 82 to 81. I feel like that one's fine. Now, Nicholas Waugh here, well-deserved +3 from a 77 to an 80. When Stevenson was out of the lineup, they actually had him playing first-line center. Didn't look out of place at all, so I feel like an 80 is kind of like your decent, anywhere in the lineup, NHL forward. And then finally here, Dylan Coghlan was kind of stepped up for them. He got a +2, now a 78. Again, looking at Vegas ratings, I think those all make sense. The Washington Capitals here, Ovechkin actually got a +1, now a 93. Look at that shot, it's insane. I'm wondering like what they upgraded. So I think they just boosted his 2 awareness stats. Evgeny Kuznetsov here is down 87 +1, has had a great start to the season. Of course, last year was a down year for him. Tom Wilson here in 85 actually got a +1. Justin Schultz here 83 got a -1. After that, Lars Eller here got a +1, now 82. Garrett Hathaway got a +1, now an 80. You also have Farabee here, if I can find him, +3, now a 78. He's in that NHL lineup as a top 6 defenseman, so minimum 78 for him. Also here, Connor McMichael's got a +2, now a 78, so he should be a pretty solid prospect in franchise. Finally here, guys, are the Winnipeg Jets. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast for any of this, just didn't want it to take forever. We have Kyle Connor, got a +1 to an 89. I think that's well-deserved. He's actually one of the top scorers in the NHL right now, not only goals, but also points, so looking very, very good. Blake Wheeler here got a -1 to 87. Honestly, I think I would have given Wheeler a -2 to 86. Now after him, you have Nick Ehlers here, who didn't get touched, still an 86. That one is stupid. He should be at least an 87. Andrew Kopp's having a great start to this season. Andrew Kopp is not as good as Nick Ehlers. Like, that one is just dumb. I think Kopp as well got a +2 to an 86 from 84. I think I would have given Kopp like a +1 to 85. Oilers should be an 87. That way you actually have the gap between, like, in my opinion, an elite player and a good player. Dubois here also got a plus 185. He's having a really good start to this season. Morrissey, I think, as well, is probably too high rated, 86, more like an 85. Nate Schmidt here got a plus 1 and now an 84. Winnipeg's going to be a really solid team, I think. After that, too, you have Svechnikov here, former Red Wing, of course. He got a plus 2 to a 78. I mean, he's actually getting NHL ice time with the Winnipeg Jets, so I think that makes sense. But yeah, again, like, as good as Copp's playing, I have him on both my fantasy teams. I love seeing him play well. He is not as good as Nick Ehlers. That makes no sense to me. Plus, I think Ehlers is just as good, if not better, than Wheeler at this point. So the ratings are better, but still, a lot of work to be had. So, I'm going to quickly, guys, load into a franchise mode, see what the ratings are looking like. Now, one thing I just did quick, guys, to get more accurate ratings was go through every single NHL team and set their lines to best lines. That way, any injured players are now healthy, as obviously they're going to be healthy when you use them in-game, whether it's Eichel on Vegas, Kucherov on Tampa Bay. Still some weird things happen. So, I'll start with the Pacific Division. Before I did best lines for Seattle, they were 88, and best lines made them 87. Not sure what happened there, but with Eichel, Vegas is the highest rated team in the Pacific, 89 overall. Vancouver, Seattle, LA, Anaheim, all 87. Calgary, Edmonton, both 88, so good battle, Alberta. Sharks, 34. In the Central there, Arizona's an 80, so I believe that's the lowest rated team in the NHL. Chicago's still 88, even though they're not having the greatest season. Colorado there, highest rated, 89, with Winnipeg. St. Louis, Nashville, 87. Dallas, 88. Minnesota, kind of surprisingly, only 86, but I think it's just due to their lower-rated goalies. In the Atlantic here, Tampa Bay highest rated at 90. You then have Montreal, 89. That's now with a healthy Price and Weber, so it skews it a little bit. Toronto there, Florida, Boston, 88. Red Wings are 87 now, which is... That's why I think some of the ratings might have been a bit too high. I don't think we're quite that good. I feel like at the end of the year, Red Wings will have been a competitive team who competed for a playoff spot at different points in the year but missed, so we'll probably finish with 84, 82 points. After that, you have the Senators, 84, Sabres, 83, so I think that looks a bit better. In the Metro here, Carolina's the highest rated team at 90, which is definitely representative of real life. Metro's a bloodbath, just like in real life too. Like, you got Washington, Islanders, Devils, Philadelphia Flyers, all 88, Penguins, 87, Rangers, there, 86, same with the Blue Jackets, so yeah, the Metro is just so close. Not a single team there that's below 85 overall. So overall, I think the team overalls here look a lot better with the new ratings and best lines. Again, how a team like Seattle dropped in rating from best lines, I have no idea, but just want to kind of show you guys that. And that's gonna be it, guys, for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, leave that thumbs up. If you've not subscribed yet, hit the sub button down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.